Forward. Hello and welcome. I'd like you to please take a moment and imagine that you have just been diagnosed with a serious medical condition. You may be feeling frightened about your health or concerned about your future. There is some good news. There's a medication that will help to manage your condition, but it costs thousands of dollars and you can't afford it. So, what do? You're not alone in this situation. The Kaiser Family Foundation estimates that at least 25% of Americans have difficulty affording their prescription medications. Think about that number for a moment. That's 1 out of every 4 people that you know. My name is Emily Welch, and I've spent time studying various medications in the pharmaceutical industry, including a college class devoted specifically to drug design and development. Through this, I've learned of a horrible disparity that exists in the United States in regards to the affordability of prescription drugs. Our pharmaceutical market is massive. According to Dr. Meenal Patel of the University of Michigan School of Public Health, 60% of the population has taken at least one prescription drug in the past month. So from a capitalist perspective, it seems that high demand is driving up higher drug prices. But it's left Americans struggling to pay for these drugs, which poses a serious threat to human health. The high cost of prescription drugs in the United States is unethical and needs to be lowered because such cost is both dangerous to human life and only benefits drug executives, despite claims to the contrary. Now, prescription drugs, you may or may not know, but they are really expensive. Essential drug treatments like insulin can cost hundreds of dollars per vial. And according to the Commonwealth Fund, other medications for conditions like MS can cost upwards of $100,000 a year. This is problematic because it prevents people from being able to take their medications correctly. The nonprofit organization Patients for Affordable Drugs states that people often cut pills in half, skip doses, and suffer from unbearable pain before they allow themselves to take a dose of their medication. This is extremely dangerous, but these patients feel as if they have no other choice because they can't afford to take the regular dosage. Drugs need to be made more affordable to limit these dangers. Now, some will argue that the cost of prescription drugs is acceptable because it keeps the industry competitive. According to an article in Blood Cancer Journal, it is the profit associated with a drug that motivates companies to pursue research and development. They argue that without this monetary incentive, there would be little to no advancement in drug discovery. Others, like Tufts student Lena Chatterjee, assert that pharmaceutical companies deserve to make a profit off of medications because their development is so expensive and time-consuming. So the high cost of medication is needed to recuperate from this expense and continue with production and more research. Now, I'm not saying that all drugs need to be free. Researchers do put a lot of effort into drug development, and some profit for that is justified. But claims like Chatterjee's are erroneous for several reasons. The first is that this profit is not going to drug researchers or to research in general. It's going to corporate executives. The CEO of Pfizer has an annual salary of $18 million, over 200 times more than what the average Pfizer researcher makes. Additionally, researcher Peter Bach from Memorial Sloan Kettering found that after accounting for the approximately $80 billion that's spent on drug research annually, drug companies still made $40 billion just from the top 20 best-selling drugs alone. That $40 billion went to profit, not additional research as companies try to claim. And that doesn't even account for the next 100 or so drugs that still generate revenue. If the profit is that big, over $40 billion, then surely drug prices can be lowered while still meeting research expenses. Clearly, the pharmaceutical industry in the United States is exploiting the American people for an exorbitant amount of money, forcing people with serious and life-threatening medical conditions to go without medical treatment due to an inability to afford such prices. This is a serious threat to human health and safety that must be immediately addressed through the lowering of prescription drug costs. Big Pharma's claims that such high costs are being used for research isn't true. Instead, they are lining the pockets of their executives at the cost of the American people. This needs to change and soon. Thank you.